Hey guys, I'm so glad week one is starting, and we're going to kick it off with Emotions 101. So, most scientists agree that emotion is a brief, conscious experience characterized by intense mental activity and physiological and behavioral changes. In other words, thoughts cause emotions, and emotions motivate behavior. And here's the key thing to think about: your emotions are under your control, just like my emotions are under my control. And the reason is that we do our emotions. We don't have emotions, we do them. Our emotions are the result of the rules that we now have about how life is supposed to be, combined with the way that we use our body and our habitual stories. And the kicker is that our emotions can be the result of unenforceable rules, which creates mental and emotional distress. Sometimes it creates conflict, and sometimes those unenforceable rules even screw up our lives. And when our emotions serve us, though, oh my God, it's magic. In fact, they perform four main functions for us. Emotions protect us when we're doing something that can be harmful. The feelings of fear that you experience that cause you to stop that behavior. In the same way, when you do something that goes against your values, uncomfortable emotions cause you to change directions. Secondly, they assist with decision making. When you make a decision, your emotions help you to know whether your decision is right or wrong. Even in situations where you believe your decisions are rational and logical, emotions play a key role. Number three, your emotions motivate you to act quickly and behave in ways that will maximize your chances of survival, your chances of well-being, and your chances of success. Feeling disappointment in yourself, having a fear of dying, or distrust that your life is not what you want it to be can motivate change. And the change looks something like this. When we experience negative emotions, we move away. When we experience positive emotions, we move towards. And lastly, our emotions help us to understand others and encourage us to connect. They give us clear information about how to respond in certain situations so we can have deeper relationships, so we can have better relationships. So you might be asking, if they do so many positive things, then how do we get so stuck sometimes? Well, another interesting thing about emotions is that they create feedback loops. When we're stuck in our emotions, we get trapped in the feedback loop of a downward spiral. For instance, depression leads to inactivity, which leads to more depression. Fear of rejection leads to avoidance, which leads to more fear of rejection. Anger leads to shouting, which leads to more anger. And it continues to isolate us until something stops it. The same is true about positive emotions. But sticking with this feedback loops, the negative feedback loops in particular, I want you to imagine an infinity symbol, right? It goes like this. In other words, it's the number 8 laid on its side. We're going to call it a crazy 8. And this is a powerful tool that helps us to understand our habitual emotions, our emotional home, if you will. Understanding this crazy 8, even at a high level, can help you to break out of unhelpful patterns of thinking and behavior. To put it simply, the emotional pattern of alternating between sadness and anger is called a crazy 8. And most of us live our lives alternating between those two emotions. In fact, a person experiencing a crazy 8 might start by getting sad, right? Really sad and helpless over an issue. It could be their job, it could be their marriage, it could be their health. Whatever it is, the sadness begins to make them feel too weak. So they snap out of it with anger. And this makes them feel strong for a short period of time. But the human body cannot stay in one emotion for an extended period of time. It literally gets tired of being tired. And so whether they get tired or they realize the anger is not getting them anywhere, and they go back to connecting with themselves and they start to feel self-pity as a result. And when they get tired of that, or they realize that self-pity is not going to get them out of the situation, they become defiant. And when that doesn't work, they become sad. And so the crazy 8 goes around again and again and again. Now, If you're anything like me, you've experienced this also, and you're not alone. We're not alone. Even though there are at least 30 emotions that we can experience, the majority of us live within the confines of 4 to 6 emotions a week. Now, there's two ways to get out of this. One is to go down and numb out by using drugs, alcohol, and things like that, which doesn't solve anything and only results in us coming to, right? Back in the crazy eight. And I want you to consider this quote by Brene Brown. She said that emotional numbing means that you deny or repress your emotions, which can result in a loss of interest in things you used to enjoy. It can result in sadness, anxiety, sleep issues, depression, memory problems, lack of motivation, feelings of being disconnected to yourself and others, as well as confusion. And she goes on to say that we cannot selectively numb our emotions. When we numb the painful emotions, we also numb the positive emotions, which makes the other way of getting out of the crazy eight that much more meaningful, because the other way to get out is to go up. And that means changing the meaning of your life by taking ownership of your emotions, which leads to my question for you. How are your habitual emotions feeding your world? Think about it. How are your habitual emotions feeding your world? So I'd like to end this video with an invitation to conduct a thought experiment. Thought experiments are helpful tools used by thinkers which enable us to explore often impossible situations and predict their outcomes. In a nutshell, a thought experiment is thinking a question or a scenario through in our imagination with as many vivid details as we can to determine its consequences, both the consequences we like and the ones we don't. The questions to ponder are: what are the emotions you live in every week? What triggers you to move from emotion to emotion? And if you're in a crazy eight, how do you get out? And what would you like to experience instead of what you're currently experiencing? So to make it easy, you'll find a simple worksheet on this page. You can choose to print it off and answer the questions, or you can choose to read the questions and have the experience all in your mind. How you do it is completely up to you. Either way, I believe you'll find it helpful. I know I did and still do find it so. So have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video.